Welcome to the Warlords of Draenor Looking for Raid Wing Preview series by Line of Sight Gaming. Our YouTube channel, LOS Gaming Show, is dedicated to making quick tip videos. You can visit by clicking our logo. Today in our line of sight is the Destructor's Rise. Within the upper halls of the Citadel, powerful members of the Legion await. Fellord Zakuun was given the task of breaking the will of Grommash Hellscream. Let's save our one-time enemy from subjugation.
This fight consists of two phases, one while he wields his axe and one while he is disarmed.
During Phase 1, rumbling fissures will spawn randomly throughout the room. Collapse the fissures by standing in the patch for 5 seconds. Leave a fissure close to the edge of the room unsoaked for a pillar to spawn in. Try to spawn all future pillars as close to this first as possible.
Players that collapse a fissure will get a debuff called Latent Energy. They will not be able to collapse another fissure until the debuff fades. If a pillar or a player with Latent Energy come in contact with a purple wave called Wake of Destruction, the energy will be released, doing a small amount of burst damage and stunning the player hit.
There are a few ways that waves will spawn. Firstly, Zakuun will use an attack called Soul Cleave, which will send his current tank into a shadow realm. Here they will need to dodge waves and jump over the purple rings. Once your debuff, Cloven Soul, expires, you will be ported back into the normal realm and shoot waves in all directions. Zakuun will use Cavitation, a conal wave attack that will be targeted at a ranged player.
Phase 2 starts as Zakuun throws his axe into the ground. Heavy-handed will cause all of his strikes to hit an additional nearby target, so tanks will need to stack for this phase. The most important part of this phase will be dealing with Seeds of Destruction. After 5 seconds, players with this debuff will pop, sending waves in all directions. When you get seeds, run to the opposite side of the room from the pillars and spread out, making it easier for players to dodge the wave.
When Zakuun hits 30%, he will enrage and use abilities from both phases simultaneously. Pop Bloodlust and burn him as quickly as you can while continuing to dodge and block the waves. Gul'dan summoned and empowered xhul'horac to widen the portals for the Legion.
xhul'horac will start off the fight tainted with green Fel energy. He will randomly debuff players with Fel Surge that after a short time will fall off and create a small patch of green fire. The fire grows over time, so make sure you drop it off as close to the edge as you can.
xhul'horac will summon 2 types of adds from his Fel portal. A large demon that does a stacking debuff to the tank that will need to be swapped. He will also chain players together. Quickly run away from each other to break them. Groups of wild pyromaniacs will start casting Fel Orb, which can create more green fire. When the big ad dies, xhul'horac will transition into the Void phase.
He will now cast Void versions of all of his abilities. Again, run the debuff Void Surge to the right edge of the room before it expires and places purple fire on the ground.
Tank swap the debuff from the large purple ad. It will also cast Black Hole. Unstable Void Fiends will target the closest person to them. Small purple swirls will mark their target. Step out of the swirl before they jump, or a patch of fire will be created.
As the big ad dies, xhul'horac will be at 35% and will transition into Phase 3.
Both Fel and Void debuffs will be going out at this point, but the room should be clean enough to place green fire on one side and purple on the other. At 20% health, he will finish draining the portals and no more ads will spawn. Every 10 seconds, he will pulse with AoE damage that increases on each use until killed.
Gul'dan and his warlocks seek to resurrect Mannoroth atop the Citadel.
There are 3 warlocks assisting Gul'dan that will need to be killed quickly. Start by killing the one in front of the red pillar, then purple, and finally green. Imps, Infernals, and Doombringers will spawn. Be sure to keep up on the ads as you rotate around, killing the warlocks.
Once the warlocks have been destroyed, Mannoroth will be awoken. Tank him facing the green pillar. Glaive combo is a 3-part attack targeted at your tanks. Glaive thrust, then a massive blast, which debuffs you and sends you flying backwards, followed immediately by another thrust. Have the second tank taunt when the first tank is knocked back.
Mannoroth's gaze will fear players. You will run directly away from him. Felseeker is a 3-part attack that starts with a small circle and will grow in damage and size on each successive attack. Be sure to continue moving out of the circles as they grow.
At the start of Phase 3, Mannoroth will get some of his flesh back and gain an additional ability called Shadow Force. This will target players with a purple beam that does damage and attempts to push them off the platform.
Bringing Mannoroth to 35% starts the final phase. The last pillar is destroyed, empowering all of his abilities. Tanks spin the boss around, giving yourself room to be knocked back. The massive blast will also send out purple waves that will need to be avoided. Ranged move to the side. Before you use the Shadow Force, have your range collapse in front of him to give yourself lots of room to be pushed back. Save Bloodlust for this phase and burn him down quickly.
The elite of the Burning Legion have been vanquished, but Gul'dan still has eluded us. We must now follow him to the Corrupt Dark Portal for the final reckoning. This has been Tobo.
And Tatva, with the Looking for Raid Wing Preview by Line of Sight Gaming. If you'd like to see our normal and heroic strategy guides for the Destructor's Rise bosses, click on any of these links.